So your wife has no time for you, but has lots of time to scroll on her phone. What do you do? Welcome back to the Secure Husband Podcast. Bruce Abbott, certified professional coach and founder of SecureHusband.com. The podcast where I help good men stop reacting in pain and start leading themselves with calm strength, truth, and clarity. This is one of the most common things mentioned in the one-on-one coaching sessions with my guys. They hear this all the time from their wife. Well, if I just had more time, I'm just so busy. I know you want affection and stuff, but I just don't have time with my job and the kids and all the things that have to be done around the house. And you hear that and you understand that. But what is it that your eyes are seeing? Your eyes are seeing that she has a lot of time that she spends on her phone and supposedly not a lot of time for me. Now you're probably nodding your head right now, huh? Yeah, I mean, you've seen it. You walk into the room, she's on the phone, doesn't even look up. You may start talking and she's still scrolling. You're trying to connect. She's tired. And then it's another hour on Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest. And you start feeling triggered. You start feeling a little bit of rage inside. Your chest tightens. Maybe you withdraw. You start telling yourself stories. Oh, she'd rather flip around on her phone than talk to me. She cares more about what all these other people are doing than me. I must not matter. And then you're stewing in silence and you're trying not to explode. Maybe you do explode or you shut down. Maybe you pull out your phone and start scrolling too, not to connect, but to disconnect, or you escape alcohol or other addictions. Underneath all of that, you feel hurt. You feel unwanted. You feel invisible. You deserve connection. But see, trying to get it by reacting from that pain through guilt or anger or withdrawal, that doesn't work. So let's look at what's really happening when she's scrolling and ignoring you. Because this gives you an opportunity to connect with your pain before you confront hers. This is going to allow you to stay grounded when you feel rejected. And that way you can lovingly guide her back into connection without pressure or shame. And that's how you lead this moment with strength and care. Because you're thinking right now that this phone is like a wall between you. This little 3x5 little piece of electronics. Your false core beliefs are telling you that she's intentionally avoiding you because you're not angry that she's looking at her phone. You're angry because she's not paying any attention to you. And you've probably been longing for her attention and affection and warmth and emotional engagement for a long time. And when you hear, I've got no time, I'm so busy, but all you see is scrolling, that stings because you're saying to yourself, do I even matter to you anymore? Why does all these other people get her attention? I get leftovers. Now, this is a key moment right here because what you do next is either going to build connection or it's going to break it down even further. So you got to start with noticing that triggered story that you're telling yourself. Because remember, step one of the Secure Husband process is awareness. It's noticing. It's bringing curiosity. It's bringing this intention to learn what's happening in this moment. So when your wife seems more interested in her phone than you, what is actually happening? Okay, you're not just noticing her scrolling. You're telling yourself a story about what it means. So what is that story that you're telling yourself? You got to notice this. Are you telling yourself, oh, she doesn't care? Are you telling yourself, she used to love me, now I'm boring? Or maybe I'm not enough. This is all subconscious. But you're telling yourself a story that other people get more attention than I do. And when that story runs unchecked, it will fuel a reaction. What is your reaction? Do you get dismissive, short-tempered? Do you become passive-aggressive? Do you emotionally shut down, sulk? Maybe you try to force connection out of desperation. Here's what I want you to do. Just take a big, deep breath. Before you act, just pause. Just ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Is this about her scrolling or what I think it means about me? See, this awareness is the first sign of emotional maturity. It puts you back in the driver's seat instead of letting that little boy inside hijack the moment. And this is where you choose to engage with compassion and not control. This is where self-soothing your nervous system is so important because this is going to be a pivotal moment in your response. Are you going to engage her with compassion? Or are you going to try to control her through anger or guilt or silence? Because most men will go one of two ways. They're going to either explode. You're going to say, you're always on that damn phone. You say you never have time for me, but you're always on the phone. Do you even care? Or you're going to implode. You're going to say nothing. You're going to stew and you're going to withdraw. And you may even be passive aggressive. None of those options build trust. Instead, you show up with calm, grounded strength, and not a desperate attempt to get attention. Now, this means you don't shame her, you don't guilt her, you don't make her feel like she's a bad wife for needing a break and scrolling. You simply stay connected to yourself first. Because remember, the strongest men are the ones who hold space for their own pain without needing to dump it all over their wife. That's the secure husband. Because that's where you have to ask yourself, okay, what would love do here with boundaries or truth and strength? See, that's going to be your next step. Now, you may not be at a place where you can do that yet because you're still along the healing journey, but that's the goal where you want to get to. But you got to go deeper and understand why you get triggered by this so much. Because it doesn't just trigger frustration, it activates old pain. Because remember when you were a child, you felt unseen as a kid? You had to perform to be noticed? You had to learn to hide your emotions to stay safe? You felt like affection and connection were always conditional? That little boy's grown up, but he's still there. He's inside of you. And in this moment, he's asking, why am I never enough? Why do people I love always choose something else over me? What's wrong with me? See, if you don't connect with him, if you don't connect with that inner boy inside of you, you're going to project all of that pain onto her when you see her scrolling on that phone. So you have to sit down with that little boy. And you do this by sitting down, you take a breath, you put your hand on your chest, you just pause, and in a quiet place, you say, hey, little guy, I see you. This hurts, doesn't it? When she says she doesn't have time for me, but you see she has time for her phone, yeah, that hurts, doesn't it? But you know what? You're not being ignored because you're unworthy. You are worthy. I'm here now. I love you. If you feel like she doesn't love you because the phone is more important, you are loved unconditionally. Because when you love that boy inside, you stop making your wife responsible for healing that wound, and then that's where you can show up with true empathy instead of resentment. And this allows you to lead in that very moment. Because if you've done this healing journey, if you've connected with your source of divine guidance, you already are getting the message from God or the universe or spirit, whatever your beliefs are, that you are worthy, that you are loved, and that these messages are truth and not the false core beliefs that run through your head like a hamster wheel. Because you have to ground yourself first through the healing process, because then you can look at her with fresh eyes and understand that most women are not scrolling their phone for hours because they hate their husbands. They scroll because they're overwhelmed and they're emotionally tapped out. Maybe they're trying to regulate or avoid conflict or discomfort. They simply need space. Maybe they don't know how to ask for it. But all of these things are possibilities. They don't excuse disconnection, but it does explain it. And then what happens is, instead of reacting from assumption, you now approach the situation with curiosity. You ask yourself, okay, what might be going on in her world right now? Is she really avoiding me, or is she just disengaging from a stressful day? Maybe she's been running on empty, and this is her way of checking out. See, this curiosity creates a safe inner space. When you can create safe inner space, that helps make a safe relationship space. And that space allows connection to be possible again, because now you're not coming at her with judgment. You're approaching her with understanding. So you're not telling yourself a false story about why she's on her phone. And this helps you stay grounded. So when you speak to her about this, you speak from truth and invitation and not neediness. So this is where, when you open your mouth, it's grounded love that comes out. Because this is the part that's so important. Because the way you communicate it determines whether she's going to feel attacked or pressured, or whether she's going to feel invited into connection. So here's how you do it. You own your feelings. You might say, hey, babe, I've been feeling kind of invisible lately. Maybe you're not quite in that place where you can say that. But if you are, maybe you can be honest without blame and say, hey, sometimes when I see you scrolling and I'm sitting here next to you, it makes me feel really distant. Because I know you've mentioned that you don't have a lot of time, but I miss connecting with you. Maybe even just for a few minutes at night. Hey, babe, would you be open to putting phones away for a little while? We can spend some time together. Or another thing might be, invite her to come join you for something. Hey, babe, I know you're on your phone right now, but you know what I would love? Hey, let's go do this thing together. And often that invitation will be well received. But can you see how that energy is different? You're not accusing. You're not blaming. You're not guilting her for spending time on the phone. You're coming at this from a warm, honest, respectful, secure place. Now, she may not respond perfectly. She may say, no, I want to stay on my phone. You self-soothe. That's why self-soothing your nervous system is so important. You stay in integrity. You stay in connection with yourself because that's leadership. And when she refuses to do that, you start the process all over again, but maybe with establishing some boundaries. But the idea is you want to become a safe place that she wants to return to so that, you know what? Yeah, I don't need to be on my phone right now. But again, the outcome is going to be what the outcome is. But this is all about your identity. This is all about you becoming the kind of man that doesn't beg for attention. You don't punish with silence. You don't try to control through anger or chase or collapse. You become a safe emotional space and you regulate yourself before you communicate. You do that by loving that little boy inside before you confront your wife. You offer connection, not to prove your worth, but because your connection actually, it reflects your worth. And when you do this consistently, you're going to notice something powerful. She might start to soften. She might start to spend less time on her phone. Maybe not right away, maybe not perfectly, but over time, she's going to begin to sense that you're different. Not because you're doing all the right things to win her over, but because you've become the kind of man who no longer makes her phone scrolling mean that he's unworthy. And from that energy, real connection becomes possible again. So I know it's frustrating. I know if your wife seems like she's more interested in her phone than in you, I get it. It's okay to feel that pain. It doesn't make you weak. It just makes you human. But you don't let that pain drive you into resentment. Don't let it turn into anger or blame or silent punishment. Instead, feel it. Talk to that little boy inside who hurts. Connect to that divine guidance. Come back to yourself with love and then speak your truth without shame or demand. That's what leadership looks like. That's what makes a man secure. And if she refuses, well, then it's time to start establishing boundaries. But it all starts with noticing what story you're telling yourself. Hey, I hope this podcast was helpful for you. Listenership has increased tremendously to this podcast. Hey, if you're a regular listener, would you go give this podcast a review? And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button for more of these episodes and share this episode with someone who you think may need to hear this. Visit securehusband.com and sign up for a free 30-minute consultation to see if one-on-one coaching with me might be right for you. And I'll see you again on the next Secure Husband podcast. Hey, thanks for listening.